video game industry alone is worth more than $150 billion, which is an insane amount of money.
If I tell you what I earn, I need to bury you in the desert after that.
You're playing a game for money.
The base salary in esports is actually decent, but the upside is what I'm after. So all these endorsements that you don't see as part of our contracts, all these big tournaments with prize money, that's where the real earnings are.
If you look at pro gamers in my game, Rocket League, well, the world champions get around 5,000 euros a month, which is a good salary. But if you look at the bigger games, let's say like League of Legends, Riot Games has done it very well with revenue sharing, and right now those are making a ton of money.
Just being here is just for the prestige, for the chance to compete, just for the competition.
I understand that desire to root for somebody or for a team and to see the high skill that the competitors can perform at. And it's a great opportunity, and it's great to be part of it. I think for the past several years, ever since more and more of the mainstream has started to discover esports, people have asked, are pro gamers athletes?
From the esports standpoint, it doesn't really matter, because why would we care what you define us as, athletes or not athletes? From, I think, the other side, the word athlete gives off a different vibe for them, and that's where the contention comes from, because it has different implications, especially legally when it comes to visa and travel and also other economic benefits.
I'd love to go back and start hearing the first time people started talking about the Premier League and professional football players, or professional rugby players, or professional cricket players. I imagine the conversations would not be too different to this day and age.
I personally think they are, but I'm not sure if it even matters anymore, what anybody thinks about it. The pro gamers are going to go up on stage, they're going to compete, fans will watch them around the world, they'll continue to do things that nobody else can ever do. So who cares if anybody thinks they're athletes or not?
Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines an athlete as someone who is practiced or skilled in exercises, games, or competition where featuring physical prowess, stamina, and agility. And those are kind of the keywords to look at. And within that definition, because it's all or, I like to look at games and stamina. And with that definition, 100% esports athletes should be referred to as athletes.
I think one of the biggest similarities between pro gamers and pro athletes is the competitiveness. I mean, we all love to play games against each other and to see who's better and who's able to win. And of course, in our sport, beach volleyball, or in sports in general, the physical part is a bit more important. But I mean, the dedication, the hours of training, the watching video, making tactical analysis, and it's quite the same.
think about the word athlete, then I think about someone who's very committed to one thing, who practices and has practiced and prepares and basically commits a big portion of their life to becoming very good at something.
First of all, the amount of time they invest in their sport, the e-gaming, I think it's even higher than the amount of time we invest in beach volleyball.
I think even pro gamers are making more hours than we do, because we make around 4 hours a day. I think they do 8 to 10, if I recall. I think they also do some physical training next to it in order to stay in shape and be able to avoid any injuries. And I think that's somewhat same as we do. And at the same time, we have a lot of ball practice that we do over here. And yeah, same for them, of course. And the only difference is they sit behind the computer and we are playing here.
And to competing in it and to being one of the best. And that's exactly what people who do esports professionally, what they do. So they are athletes, they practice, they prepare, they have to be good. They don't just sit down and play, but they prepare for everything and they compete and they have to, they have to get along with the nerves that might get to them from time to time, and they have to deal with losses, and then they have to coordinate with their teammates. Those are all cornerstones of what it means to be an athlete.
Some of these athletes, they have like 400 APM. So StarCraft players will be able to move their hands at about 400 actions per minute. That's incredible. Counter-Strike players, they require 200 to 300 frames per second when they're playing at professional level.
I think in terms of training, it's just a case of fine-tuning, watching replays and finding out what you can improve on. But in order to get to this level, there's a lot of hard work that goes into it.
So this is the shirt from Team NL, so the Royal Dutch Motorcycle Association. This is probably my latest shirt. Not really as a professional, but as a coach. And then you have team aces. They don't realize what gamers have to do in order to play on the highest level. So we do have fitness coaches, nutritionists, psychologists, trainings, performance coaches. And people are like stigmatizing, like, gaming and professional gaming is just sitting. It's just sitting like a whole day with a controller in your hands. There's no movement involved. But basically we make use of the smaller muscles and not the big muscles like soccer players. And we do a lot of fitness outside playing. And that's mostly what people don't see, because when they see us performing, we're on stage on a chair, but when we're not performing, we're also like living a healthy life.
I think for me, physical training only takes you so far. It's more of that mental aspect. But for me, I work out to stay in shape because, sometimes, on the internet, there's a lot of haters when they see a professional gamer. If he's out of shape, they'll be like, that's why he's out of shape. He just sits around and plays games all day.
We train specific things in our body to be able to perform on the stage, right? In a way, yes. The difference is we train our mind, I guess. Sounds a bit snobby. But ultimately, your decision making and your reaction time are the things that you are training, and you're using that to put on a performance.
For a long time in different esports like League of Legends and CSGO, etc., a lot of teams have moved into game houses or team houses where everybody practices together and lives together.
There's also no better way of creating an unbelievable level of camaraderie between people. If you're eating together, living together, going out together, the chances are when you go into battle, or you go into the performance arena, whether traditional or in esports, you're going to have that bond.
因为不管是传统体育也好，还是电竞体育也好， 就是说，其实我们比赛的时候不仅仅是选手个人技术，还有一个是团队协作方面。当他们住在一起，天天一起训练，天天一起生活，对他们默契度来说是一个很大提升。当然，对于我们管理者来说也是更加好、更加方便去管理他们。就是比如说能看到他们每天是在做什么，每天的训练情况怎么样。
那肯定是好的呀，因为和你的队友每天生活在一起，我感觉就是会，就是感觉默契吧，那种默契会培养出来，我感觉。就是不光是我们每天训练这种培养，我们生活这种其实也是要去培养这种默契的。
对不起，我这帽子缝在头皮上了。
其实他们选手还是比较内向的，但是他们说是不怎么会说，但是他们内心还是蛮喜欢的。其实我们能看到他们在我们基地每天会训练到很晚很晚，基本上到凌晨2、3点钟。
当然是对选手肯定是选手需要比较专注嘛，然后肯定不能因为一些其他的事情来影响选手的训练，所以说在基地肯定是很好的。会有。但是就是在自己情绪不好的时候，会有这种情绪，感觉就是生活可能是不是有点单一啊？每天只是训练，一直是训练，会有吧，但是不多。之前的话有持续了半年的大概一个康复训练吧，就是因为我们打电脑嘛，每天就坐在电脑上一坐就10几个小时这样，坐姿呀都就是很僵硬身体，然后每周都会有这种康复课程，然后有老师过来帮我们辅导一下，就是调整一下就是身上的一些小毛病吧。
这是我们的荣誉墙，基本上我们奖杯都放在这里，但是当初建造的时候好像没有想到我们会有那么多荣誉，然后更加多荣誉奖杯会放在那个地方。这里都是我们的休闲区，然后我们一些放不下奖杯都会放在这里，包括这里也是我们休闲区。然后这里呢都是我们的荣誉墙，拿了各种冠军啊，包括一些队员介绍的荣誉墙。这块基地呢，其实是我们最新造起来的。然后我们这块基地呢，不仅仅是作为我们选手的基地，也是一直被认为是电竞很多的影视剧啊都会到我们这来取景。我们 OMG 的精神一直还是和原来一样，就是说我们希望传承冠军的意志，然后守护电竞梦想，包括守护选手自己的和粉丝们的。然后这些荣誉墙呢，其实是我们一些现有的或者已经退役的一些选手，这张应该是在去年的世界赛上面拍的，包括一些我们2队的队员，包括一些我们1队的。然后整个2楼到3楼都是我们的训练室，会有一间一间独立的训练室给到我们各个分部。
的地方就是比赛呀，打不好的时候吧，然后面对的可能是种种问题，对内啊压力，然后也会有那种舆论上对外的，就是这些很多问题吧，就是都是一种压力。最好玩有趣的还是在赛场上与这些对手，然后同时也是朋友，和他们之间的一些互动比较有意思，还是。
There's much more to be excited for because this year, Riot Games celebrates the 10-year anniversary of League of Legends. And you can join the celebration.
Right now, there's a pretty big debate around what makes a tournament in esports big. Certain esports, for instance, are, they have giant prize pools. But a video game publisher can put out a giant prize pool and maybe not as many people watch it or as many people tune in.
To define like what I would consider a good tournament, a great tournament, one of the best in the world, like unfortunately, even if you put on the biggest tournament in the world with the most money and the prestige and all the best teams, if the games that actually play out in the tournament don't tend to be very good, people just won't remember it as a great tournament, unfortunately. And since esports don't necessarily have the history of the NFL, the NBA, people don't have the kind of reliability that like, oh, if it was bad this year, it'll be good next year. So I'd say actually a lot rides just on how exciting the match itself is.
To reintroduce to Berlin, to the world, the 2018 World Champions, and to return the Summoners Cup. Berlin, put your hands together for Invictus Gaming!
League of Legends is the biggest PC game in the world, and so whenever the League of Legends World Championships happen, it is a spectacle unlike any other, because you have teams from all over the world that are competing in this. It is undoubtedly the biggest event of the year for League of Legends esports, and the stakes are just incredibly high. You have teams in leagues that have waited all year to qualify into this, and then to hopefully win it. In particular, you know, because League of Legends is the biggest game in the world, it just commands the biggest audience. There's just millions and millions and millions of people watching the finals every year.
So the League of Legends World Championship is an annual event, and it is the culmination of the professional League of Legends year. There's over 13 leagues around the world, and the champions from those tournaments come together. So North America, Europe, South Korea, China, etc.
Well, League of Legends is a strategic game, but also an action game. So you are competing with 4 colleagues, so 5 versus 5. In a battleground that is a fantasy battleground. And the basic idea is to advance in the battleground and destroy the base of the enemy.
League of Legends is kind of like chess, where every piece on the board is someone controlling it. It's like a player, and you just try to collect resources to be stronger than the other pieces on the board.
You have 5 champions against 5 other champions. These are chosen by the teams before the game starts. They're all different. You have about 140 of them. And then ultimately the goal is to take towers down every lane and attack their nexus, which is in the center of their base. You explode that, you win the game, much like taking down the king in chess.
世界赛是一个最好的证明自己的舞台吧，所以我们最终目标肯定是冠军。
Please join me in welcoming the contenders in our first match of the group stage, Fnatic!
It's very unique. Like, it's an experience that you only get when you reach the top. Like, you don't quite get that unless you're in a really big team, right? Because I've played from some smaller teams, I've played on stages before, but sitting on that stage and when you actually make make a game-winning play, or at least you put yourself in a position where you basically got match point, that's when it really, like, the chants start coming and you're on that stage still playing and you hear them through the, that's the thing about League of Legends in esports, is we don't have booths, right? We're all sitting there, you can actually hear the crowd as you're playing, and it's amazing, but it's also very, 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 very pressuring when you're losing, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Day 2 of the World Tag Team Group Stage.
We are wasting no time. So the prize purse for the League of Legends World Championship is base set at $2,225,000.
The unique thing about the League of Legends World Championship prize pool is that because it's partially crowdfunded, we don't know yet how much money went into it, but upwards of 2 million. And quite frankly, one of the biggest things about winning Worlds is that it's not just the upfront money that you get from the prize pool, but in the game they actually make different what are called skins, which are sort of like uniforms. They're different looks for the characters that are based off of the players who win. And then when people buy those skins, the players themselves actually get a portion of that money. So while winning the prize pool is great, a great deal of the prize pool or the money that you get from winning Worlds actually comes in the year after, whenever everybody goes out and buys the skin that is modeled after your personality or your team.
Championship skins can sometimes double the tournament, can sometimes be 2 more million, 3 more million more. It's not the same as having 30 million in. So realistically, minimum, let's just say 2 million is a decent round figure. But I would say, if I had to guess, it's probably more like 4 or 5 million historically. So about $5 million maybe.
把这些奖金用到团建啊、聚餐，或者一些不同点上的一个活动，去提升他们的一个互动，加上默契度。我们平时也会有，比如说赛训的时候，你的一些低级失误，我们会做一些团建性的罚款，我们也会做累积性的奖励。在一般性比赛输了之后，我们很少去激励，要看他们当时的心理状态，更多的是让他们每一场比赛关键的东西让他们输明白、输透，要自己很快的觉醒和理解，去反思。更有效的说，让他们自己去引导自己快速的成长。
撞不带，撞不带，撞不带。两个。
在赛事比赛中的话，应该最主要是关注选手的一个心理状态。其实到比赛的时候，你很难再提供他游戏理念的帮助，你要在比赛中快速调整他的心理，调整队伍气氛。让他恢复到一个正常的竞技状态。
身上还有两个技术，后面有个这个因为这种圈上马路边这边队伍也可能到了地上，那他们这种这边可能就上来了。
在比赛中的话，其实你作为教练的时候，上场的时候压力可能会比选手更紧张更大，因为你一定是背负的成绩，完全是负责整个队伍的赛训全方面。但同时，这是你的动力。
개인적인 생각은 상대 선수들보다 저희 선수들이 기량이 훨씬 더 좋은데 져서 너무 아쉽다고 생각해요. 근데 그 부분은 좀 제 잘못이 큰 것 같아가지고 선수들한테 정말 고생했고 미안하다는 말 해주고 싶습니다.
You know, for a player to get knocked out of Worlds, it's incredibly painful because all of them are striving to make it and be on that stage and to be the best. And so getting knocked out of Worlds feels terrible because you know that if you had just played a little better in a couple games, maybe it could have gone differently.
First question is for Faker. Like normally you are always very calm no matter what the conditions are, but like today you looks a bit nervous. So how do you like to evaluate your mentally conditions today?
네. 오늘 멘탈 컨디션은 평소와 다를 바 없었던 것 같고요. 뭐 앞으로 좀 더 잘할 수 있었던 부분이 있었던 것 같은데 제가 잘 이끌지 못해서 좀 아쉬움이 많이 남는 것 같습니다.
How much percentage of your true power did you guys think you used in today's series?
Well, I think that we played bad. I think it's unfair to say that that's the reason why we lost. I think FPX is a really good team, so even if we played better, might have been rough. Also, I think if you lose 3-0, there's always a blame on the coaching staff, especially me. So I think today I just felt my team.
And obviously it's disappointing to let everyone down with this final. It's also disappointing to us. And we'll try our best to recharge in the offseason and come with a better show next year.
The lane phase I can see being a pretty solid matchup, but as the game progresses, it's going to be harder and harder for that Oriana to survive.
The hardest part of getting knocked out of the League of Legends World Championship, no matter where you are, whether you finished second or you finished dead last in 24th place, I think it is you have to wait a whole year to have another chance at it. And in a year in League of Legends can mean everything. It can take you from first to last. It could mean that you fall out of love with the game.
I think outside of esports, there are a lot of skeptics on how emotionally intense this can be, and they kind of feel like this can't be anywhere near the emotions of traditional sports.
How are you feeling after today?
힘든 하루가 끝나서 속은 좀 시원하지만 막상 좀 시간이 지나고 생각하면 많이 슬프고 잠도 잘 안 올 것 같아요.
When you see this industry and when you see the work, the hours, the skill, the dedication that goes into competing, these are esports athletes. These are esports competitors. They're professional gamers.
And when you have a comp like this, you need to have that impact. You need to have that early game.
The pressure is an absolute utmost on these players.
On the last day of group stage, we saw Reckless in tears after making it out of group stage. And I think that's really a testament to just how hard all of these players work throughout the year. So many of them give up relationships and, fun social events and any number of different things, free time, leisure, just to play the game so much and to pour so much of themselves into the practice and the regular season games.
Amount of time that you have to put in is, well, it's not ridiculous, but it's a lot. But you've got to do a lot of other stuff. You have school, you have work, you have social life, and 4 hours per day gaming. That doesn't work. That doesn't go together. You need to cut it in somewhere. And by me, it was my social life.
电子竞技这个太难了，找个女朋友，大家的时间都是在训练，没有太多时间。
3个人，还剩3个，确定。
It's all about making it to Worlds. And so this is the one goal that they've set for themselves, which means that every year, if you don't make it, or you do make it, or any of these different things happen, you're going to feel an intense amount of emotions because everything has been building to this moment.
That's ultimately often the thing that differentiates the person that wins and the person that loses. Because I think in esports, more than any other sort of arena, the margins to success or indeed loss is so small.
赛前预测的是3-1，我没想到我们会3-0，就只能说我们队今天打得非常好吧。
奖杯，我就挺惊奇的，觉得这个就其实是很难得到的，但是就我们做到。然后今年一整年的话，就感觉一直在成长吧，就不管是游戏里还是游戏外，都是在成长的过程，所以就感觉今年到这里就终于结束了。
你好，这里是177记者，可以各自聊一下夺冠后最想做的一件事情是什么吗？
我要吃最贵的，然后回去也吃一下最贵的，然后玩一下吧。
这几天先多陪我老婆吧，然后回去就开直播跟学友一起互动。
想回家。
想放假就太久了。
I don't feel pressure when I'm in front of a big crowd. I am the kind of guy who feeds off the crowd's energy. Contrary to other players, when there is no crowd, I don't play as well because I don't get as excited about the competition. I've always performed the best when there's a big crowd who is on my side, shouting and screaming when I do my stupid stuff on stage. So I really like that.
Both players and fans have this energy that they are feeling, and it's kind of electric, but man, to be a player on stage is like nothing else. The fans yelling and cheering just went straight onto that stage, and they could feel it every single time something happens in the game that gets this reaction from the audience. Watching esports live is an entirely different experience from watching it at home. Anybody who's been to a really exciting sporting event can, understand how it might feel different to go to an esports tournament in person. And so I think that that's a big thing, is just the energy, the connection you have to the other fans in the audience, seeing the people on stage. I think that that's a huge element. It's similar to any other live entertainment event that somebody might attend.
Playing in front of a big crowd is what I do sports for. I mean, I love it, and on the other end, I still remember a semi-final in the Olympic Games in Rio 2016, where almost 11,000 Brazilians were against us, playing Brazil in their home country, and it can be difficult, but I always love to, to get energy from the crowd, and I mean, sometimes we feel like gladiators, in the Colosseum, and it's a special feeling, and I always appreciate it when people come and watch. Yeah.
Do you believe that esports should be in the Olympics, and why?
Yeah, maybe esports can be in the Olympics in the future. I think right now, it's still pretty difficult. It's somewhat, you always have to do something moving at the moment. Like, for example, games like chess are also not in the Olympics. I think you could compare it to something like that. So maybe in some years, but I don't think it will happen in upcoming 10 years or so. I think the physical aspect is too important to also include esports in the Olympic Games.
More and more there's been conversation about esports joining the Olympics. I don't know if it should or shouldn't. I mean, I think the great thing about esports is we've already proven that we can be a success without being included in the Olympics. In the Olympics, we don't really need it to validate ourselves as an industry. But I do think it's quite fun, the idea of it being a part of it.
I mean, if you see how many viewers particular games get, if you see how much money is being spent in there, and also if you look at the traditional aspect of what Olympic game are, it's athletes who are at the top of their game, who are really the best in their field, competing against others, right? By that definition, why not also have people playing in there, esports players as well?
If it's ever going to work, you'd have the Winter Olympics, the Summer Olympics, you'd have the Esports Olympics, and then the publishers would have to batter over which game would be played. But I mean, it'd be setting up in the reverse order. I think the Olympics was founded because everyone was amateur, then turned professional, and the Olympics were ingrained in the sport. Almost the opposite is in place for esports. Everything's set up, you've got leagues, you've got infrastructure, and everyone's battling for that moment in the calendar. Well, where would the Olympics fit in? How would it work, and how would you align that with everyone's calendars? It's a $1 million question. I think it's actually traditional sports version of trying to get into the space, and the Olympics is the natural version of it. But I'm glad we're not involved in trying to figure out where.
So the Intel World Open is a brand new esports tournament that we've built in conjunction with the International Olympic Committee. It's a culmination of about a decade and a half of experience in esports. And what we've done is we've created a truly unique platform where we are bringing in grassroots competition, but we're building up to a very high-profile world stage where all the eyes are going to be on you. It doesn't matter what gender you are, it doesn't matter where you're from, and it also doesn't matter if you have pro or amateur status. You're going to be able to come and compete for your country and have an opportunity to become a champion.
In terms of what type of content in there, I mean, you can go either way with either Counter-Strike, Dota, or League of Legends. But I'm pretty much fan of fighting games because they're quick, they're easy to understand, and I think it's just fun to see and watch.
We're going to be featuring 2 games, Street Fighter V and Rocket League. And the players are going to be competing for a combined prize purse of $500,000. We chose Street Fighter V really as an homage to the host country of Japan. It has over 3 decades of history. It's also very intuitive to watch. It's similar to martial arts, so you have one fighter on one side, one fighter on the other side, and you pretty much know who's winning. We chose Rocket League because it's family friendly, it's easy to understand, and it's just very exciting to watch.
Goes for the flick, speed misses, and then it was wide open for Gyro. And you were talking about the peeps.
Those 2 games are really good to just get people excited about what esports is all about and what it means.
Now everybody kind of jumping around. Mouse with a real chance here, lifting to speed. Time off the backboard. Here comes Cooks here. Wants the left side, and yes.
Street Fighter, that's a good fit to just showcase athletes, and I think the same applies to Rocket League. It's a good fit because it's very similar to sports, but also unique. You wouldn't do that in real life with cars. So it kind of bridges that element between sports on one hand and games on the other hand, brings them together.
So we wanted games that were easy for new fans as well as the core fans to follow and to understand and to enjoy. And we really see this as an opportunity where families can come together and they can watch an esports tournament together, whereas normally they just wouldn't. We're really trying to use this global platform to bring in more viewers into esports. As the Intel World Open evolves and we continue with the platform, we continue with the tournament, there's opportunities to bring in new genres of games and new titles as well. So we went with country teams because we wanted an opportunity for new heroes to rise. We wanted fans to be watching and cheering for their countries, and we also wanted to create what we would consider a really can't-miss tournament. You know, any major football franchise would have players from all around the world. But then when they play for the World Cup, they may go back and play for their own country teams. So it's really it's really like that model. So then you're going to see, hey, these are my favorite players. You know, how does this rearrangement of the players then affect the outcome of the game? The direction that we need to move in is making sure that if esports ever does become an official part of the Olympics, that it needs to be the most authentic to the fans and really the pinnacle of esports competition. I think it's too early to say which direction it's going to go, but I do believe that if and when it becomes part of the Olympics officially, that it's going to have its own unique structure, and it's going to be geared towards esports fans and really geared towards the community.
The future for esports is really bright. There's so many passionate people pushing this industry forward. It's just this new global phenomenon.
We're in this transitionary period where technology is becoming more prolific, where access to video games is easier, broadband is getting cheaper. But when I have kids, my kids won't be watching rugby or cricket. They'll be watching League of Legends.
Irony of age, Q and Waku can't do anything about it. Jackie with the triple kill, 10 and 4 for IG, and they don't need no...
Yeah!
Sorry, I just had to do that.
What is your advice for young people who want to become pro gamers like you have been?
I would suggest you stick to a model that I eventually made for kids as well as for parents, but it's called the 5 S's. And if you look at balance, because the professional athletes nowadays are very balanced. So they have balance between sleep, study, sports, social life, and playing the game, which is spell in Dutch, so the 5th S. And considering sleep, if you don't sleep well, you have lower endurance when doing sports. You know, studying, when being sleepy, you fall asleep during class and stuff. Sports is very important: fit body, fit mind, long endurance. And well, you need to play a couple of games during a day at a tournament, so you need the endurance. Then you have study. Study is important for brain development. The smarter you get, the quicker you are able to learn a game and analyze your own gameplay as well. Social life, obviously online you have many friends, but for me it's more important to have offline friends, because the biggest problems you have and the most difficulties are locally, for me in the Netherlands. And I need my friends to help me out with certain stuff or give me feedback, and the online friends don't know how it is in the Netherlands or can't give me that feedback. And then you need to choose a game as a young athlete, as a talent maybe. Choose a game that fits you from the inside out. So don't choose the game that's the biggest, the most money. Just choose the game that's closest to your motivation.
So some time for yourself is something I recommend for everybody.
I would say the number one piece of advice is make sure you really, really like this field. Because I always tell people the ultimate validation you can have in life is when you yourself each day can feel like this was satisfying, like I enjoyed doing this, I'm accomplishing something.
I think if you are a player without this ambition, I don't know what you're doing in this industry. You might as well go back to do a normal job. But I think all professional players everywhere in the world, they all strive to be world #1, and that's what I'm looking at.
就是你可能很多人认为电子竞技的选手每天都在打游戏，其实转制为选手之后，你每天的操作和训练很枯燥、很机械化，你要坚持，几乎每天都是14到16小时，有可能就是最基本的射击、定位、走位。它就像打篮球，它可能就是2分3分，你每天是上万个投球，就是很枯燥。你要坚持住你的初心，保持住你的心理状态。
Now it's the chance for Rose to set up a play. He goes over one defender, ball towards the backboard, follow up by face. No shot on goal, however. If you want to become a pro gamer, I want to give you one tip. Always have fun. In one of the biggest tournaments I've played, I missed the easiest goal in my entire career. And instead of being down, I laughed really hard. And I was really happy to be there. And we didn't get first, but I had fun. That's the most important thing in game.
这一波 JK 太猛了。3就会这样子，我死然后打台上来了。
Esports is not a phenomena that is going to be short-lived. I think this is going to become more and more a cultural staple in regions all over the world.